Yo guys, and welcome back to the Touchliner. I am standing in front of you after doing the double over Liverpool for the first time in a decade. And Ben is standing in front of you after winning for the first time in how many weeks?
4 games. We lost 4 games in a row. This is our first win in a while.
There you go. Well, there you go. And, while a lot happened in my game, I think I'm going to give the floor to you to open this episode because I think there's some positives and then also some big news that we need to talk about. So take it away.
It's true. Okay, I guess we will start with the fact that... should we start with the Ornstein bomber?
Go for it.
Eddie Howe has been... It's confirmed that he will be Newcastle United manager next season.
Dang.
At least that's the plans for the owners.
Dang.
How do I feel about this? I don't feel great about it. I won't lie. And a lot of people will look at, we just played against Arsenal and everyone was like, oh, it was a better performance. It was better from Eddie Howe. And then we played Brighton. And, again, I thought we were going to lose against Brighton because Welbeck always dunks on us or likes to dunk on us as he does against you,
Yes, true.
But it didn't turn out that way. We made the game into something that Brighton couldn't really handle physically. We went man-to-man against them, sort of forced Verbruggen to play a lot of long balls, and that wasn't really what they were looking to do. I think Brighton are best when they've got lots of men around the ball, quick passing, 1-2 through. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now. I watched that game. Minter. I am glad we got rid of that fucker.
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
That blood stink the pitch up. If Dan Burn is marking you out the game and you're a small, fast, dynamic winger, just give it up. Hang the boots up, bro. Because it's not looking good for you. Listen, a lot of people will look at that Brighton game. We finished 3-1. Goals from Barnes. I'm racking my memory now. Barnes. Bloody Asula.
Yeah, Asula.
And who else?
Hinshelwood, wasn't it?
No, 3-1. Who scored the goal for us?
Daniel himself. Burn.
Daniel
Burn.
Burn. Yes, yeah. Daniel Burn.
Yeah.
So, first of all, you look at the team selection, you're thinking, wow, okay. After the meeting with the Saudis, you're thinking Eddie Howe, he's going to buck his ideas up. He's going to show a little bit more risk-taking, a little bit more out of his comfort zone in these last few games. And then the team sheet comes out and you're looking at that front line. You're looking at Asula, Willock, and Jacob Murphy. And I really thought before the game he was going to play Voltemada. He said he created the best chance in the Arsenal game, and I was disappointed to not see that. But he wanted pace up front. I guess that is something that Voltemada doesn't give you. He does press though, so I don't understand this notion that he doesn't press the ball, because he does. I think he actually scored this season pressing the keeper and getting the ball and tapping it in. Against Brighton, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, I think that overall, I watched that game and I thought this was very much Eddie Howe saying, I'm going to do what I trust and what I know, and everyone else can just deal with it. So he played Willock, he played the runners, he played Murphy. He played Asula up front. He played Dan Burn over Lewis Hall. And Lewis Hall is just, he's just nearly forgetting that he pocketed Lamine Yamal like 4 weeks ago, not too long ago.
Sure.
Lewis Hall is a generational baller. I can't lie. And we need to play him over, the whole, we need height in the team. We need physicality. I don't care, bro. I'm sick of watching physical 50-50 football, because if you want to be a top team, you need to be able to pass the ball and keep the ball effectively and create chances out of nothing. And Newcastle just can't do that. They are not that type of team. Newcastle, they run hard, they press you hard, they look for those high turnovers. That's what Eddie Howe is used to, and that's literally exactly how he played against Brighton. And while I enjoyed watching the game, the holes were still there. You know,
Yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
at Jacob Murphy losing the ball every other time he gets it. I'm looking at, you know, Willock. And you know what the sad thing is? Willock and Asula actually had good games, you know, so it's difficult for me to slander them. But it's just the same old shit. I didn't think we played very well against Brighton. I mean, we
Hmm.
won, but I didn't
Yeah.
really think that anything changed. I didn't think that I could look at that and say, oh well, I'm much more on the Eddie Howe in train now, because it didn't really look like he changed much. I mean, he still did his, you know, high press, man to man pressing, sat in a 4-4-2 instead of sitting in a 4-5-1, which I thought was interesting, leaving Willock and Asula up front. And let me just say, let me give Asula his praise. You know what? A lot of people slandered Asula, saying he was not even good enough for Sheffield United. This guy is proving himself.
You said that.
It wasn't me. It was not me. Somebody in the group, I won't name him, but he's fat, sent it into the chat that he had no strengths and only weaknesses.
Oh,
I
these
remember that
receipts.
photo
Oh,
so
the
vividly.
stats, the Opta
Yes.
stats. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And he only had weaknesses. And, you know, listen, he is showing what he can do, right? The lovely turns, the dummies, and running, letting the ball run behind him and chasing it. He had that left back for Brighton on stilts. I don't know who he was, but he was having him all game. But it just further cemented our perspective and our point that Asula is a right winger. He is
Yeah.
not a fucking striker, man.
No, no chance.
He needs to be played on the right hand side, because, or on the left hand, whichever side you play him on the wing, because I just don't think that this guy could play as striker in the Premier League consistently all season. He's a dynamic player. He's quick. He can beat a man. He's got a nice step over and turn in him when he has time and space. But he doesn't have time and space in the middle, right? He will need a strike partner with him. And I thought Willock did that well. And listen, yes, we played better than we had done in previous games. But I'm looking at that and I'm still thinking that I see the cracks going through into next season. Even in that game, I saw the defensive errors. I saw Dan Burn being too slow to make it back. I saw Nick Pope really showing what he's about, in the sense that he is not a footballer. He's not a footballer at all, but he can stop circular objects from going into a net. That's what he can do. And yes, he has a howler in him every now and then, but he did show that he can make big saves when it matters. That bicycle kick close to the end of the game, he stopped that. I mean, it was in the middle-ish of the goal, but it was quick reactions. There was another one that I'm struggling to remember now. But overall, it's just, I left that Brighton game with more questions than answers,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Because Voltemada didn't even get a minute in that
Yeah,
game.
didn't even
And
come off
that
the
made
bench.
me really think, like, right, so you've spent like 2 weeks now working with him. You've had a lot more training time. You've not had double game weeks. You've not had anything like that. You've not had fixture congestion. You've had time to work with the strikers. And yet we're still seeing Visser being given 25 minutes of football over Voltemada.
Yeah.
Now, what does that say? That
Well,
Johan Visser, who has arguably been our worst player this season, understandable with injuries, arguably been our worst player this season,
I think he might
right?
be one of your worst signings. We're going to look back at this in a bad way. 50 million. He had 1 year
Yeah.
left. Barely scored.
55.
Doesn't contribute. Like, Walter, I can tell you how he contributes to the team. When I watch Wissa, I see him waste chances. To be fair, that final goal, yeah, he pressed the defender, he pressed the keeper.
Pressed him, laid
the
the
game's
ball
won.
off.
Game's
The
won.
game is won at that point, but we needed it to be solidified. I think that's fair to say.
No, fair.
You want to be comfortable.
Fair. But has he peaked? He's 30. He just had a major injury this year. Like, is that
That's
it?
the thing. Yeah, I mean, he comes on, and sometimes when he has the ball, you can see the fear and panic in his eyes. It's just like Alanga, when Alanga was, just starting to play more minutes. And you just see sometimes he looks full of fear. And when Lewis Hall played that ball, I mean, it's literally the easiest chance you'll ever score in your life. Plays it across the field. It's one-on-one with the keeper, and he skies it over the bar. And it's just like, I feel bad for him, because he obviously loves Newcastle a lot, and he wants to be that Demba Ba, that Pape Cisse figure that we have had in the past. And, like, I want to say that he showed me signs that it will get better, and I really do hope it does, because I like him as a player. I think he has a good character, but right now it's just not showing, and it just confuses me why we are playing Visser over Voltemada. Voltemada came in and started the season as our number 9 and scored 4 goals in 5 games. He scored like 7 goals in the Premier League up until he stopped playing and stopped. And was then taken out for Anthony Gordon. And I worry that Voltemada is going to get sold this summer, or he will just rot in Newcastle. I really worry that we have one of the best European talents on our team, young European talents on our team, and we have a coach who doesn't know how to get the best out of him. I mean, you look at Jacob Ramsey, right? Jacob Ramsey was signed in the same window as Voltemada. Both him and Voltemada are not Eddie Howe players. And you wonder why Jacob Ramsey was signed, because we could have easily found another runner for the midfield. That's not difficult. But why was Jacob Ramsey signed if now, as soon as Joelinton becomes unbanned again, he can play now, he's out of injury, why is it now Joelinton just comes straight back into the side? I think Jacob Ramsey has been up there with one of our better midfielders this season. I think he's been better than Willock. I think he's been better than Joelinton for a lot of the time. I think that we've really struggled without Bruno, and Tonali has not been the same as he was last season. I just don't understand, like, why Eddie Howe saps the creativity out of the team by just putting players in like Joe Willock, Jacob Murphy. I don't understand it. Like, I really don't, because Voltemada is going to win you games. Like, he is gonna be able to win you games. He scored twice against Chelsea, single-handedly won us that game, and I don't see what the vision is with Asula. Is he thinking Asula is going to turn into the next Isak? Because
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I mean, he runs more, and that's the only thing. So this is what I mean, right? That was a great result. I think you played better against Arsenal, like you said. But you're going into now, the board have said, barring disaster, Eddie Howe's going to stay next year. You've got players like Voltemada who could easily go on to a different club in the Premier League, not even Europe, in the Premier League, and perform.
Yeah.
Now, how do you avoid this from happening, where you've got all these players, these talented players coming in, and Eddie Howe doesn't like using them? What needs to happen this summer for you to have a successful year next season?
I was genuinely thinking about this before we started the podcast today. I think Eddie Howe needs to bring in some new backroom staff, some attacking coaches, maybe out with possession coach, something like that. Because I genuinely, I've watched him now for enough time to not be fooled by what I'm seeing and understand that Eddie Howe is tactically limited in his creation of chances, and maybe that needs to be changed by bringing in a new coach, a new voice. Maybe that can help. We've seen it with Arsenal. They brought in the set piece coach, and that's really helped them this season. And it's either that, or there needs to be a real shift from the owners telling Eddie Howe how we want to play football. We have to have an identity in who we are attracting at the club. Yeah. We have to have an identity in our signings. And Voltemada and Jacob Ramsey last window were just not part of that Newcastle identity at all.
Yeah.
Voltemada is a perfect player to go to Arsenal or to go to Manchester City. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
If Voltemada went to Arsenal, I would be scared that the Arsenal would just punish the league while he was here. Because he can create a chance out of nothing, and that's exactly what Arsenal miss sometimes. And I just think that Eddie Howe is going to waste this guy.
Yeah.
And I won't be fooled by the NUFC media coming out afterwards and being like, oh, you all slated the team sheet, but look, it turned out right. Eddie Howe knows what he's doing. That turned out to be the right team sheet. And it's just like, bro, you are not going to gaslight me. I will not. I refuse to watch another season of Anthony Gordon playing in striker. I refuse to watch another season of Harvey Barnes playing on the wing. I refuse to watch Jacob Murphy step fucking foot on a Newcastle pitch again, to be honest. Like, after this season, this brother should be nowhere near a starting 11 for a team that is looking to push on into the European competitions, into the Champions League. We're going to go into next season, most likely with no European football.
Yeah.
Which is the worrying part. Because if we go into next season with no European football, we'll have a great season. We will have a great season. We won't have 2 games a week. We'll have enough. We will play that classic Eddie Howe high pressure football, and it'll look good for another season. And maybe we'll all be back on the train. But then come the season next, when we have Champions League football, and we're pushing in the domestic cups, that is when it will. Same cycle. It will just continue.
I'm telling you, man.
That's what's going to happen. We are going to be limited by Eddie Howe. We've seen his limitations. We understand what he can and can't do, yet the ownership are staying with him. Does he deserve that faith? Maybe you could argue that point, that he deserves more backing from the fans and the ownership. And he's allowed a bad season. We've seen Arteta have bad seasons, and now look where they are. I just don't think that Eddie Howe has that in him.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Sadly, I used to think so, but now I don't.
I mean, unless he wants to completely adapt and change the way he plays, like Arteta has. But once again, Arteta's not won anything. But he's given the club consistent Champions League, consistent competing in all the cup competitions and the league. So I think Newcastle fans would take that. But once again, I actually don't think that he's got it in him. I'm interested to see what the approach is this summer, because we haven't had any. I mean, that news just broke today. We haven't heard any names, any big transfer targets. What kind of players are being brought in? I want to see that. I'll put my money on Gibbs White right now. They will want to get Gibbs White. But if Forest somehow win the Europa League and they get Champions League, he'll stay. Like, he's not going to go to Newcastle if he gets Champions League next year.
Just signed a massive new contract, didn't he? So
I mean, but like Marinakis had a gun to his head, so he kind of had to sign
It's
it.
It's true. Who is Eddie Howe going to bring in that's going to change my mind? Like, and what are you going to be doing with Voltemada next year? How often is Voltemada going to play? Because right now you're favouring Visser over him. So is Voltemada a third choice striker or a second choice midfielder? Like, either play Voltemada in the 10 or play him up front. Do not let him cross the halfway line when you have the ball. If he's dropping beneath the halfway line, you've already wasted him. Which is what I worry is going to happen next year. Listen, what we need from this summer rebuild is we need... If Livramento is going to go, which fingers crossed, I hope he is, but apparently now nobody's interested in him anymore because he's got another injury. If Livramento goes, we need at least one new fullback who could play maybe centre-back, whatever you want. Yeah. We need another winger, a creative winger, okay? We need another midfielder, possibly a 6, depending if Sandro Tonali leaves. Maybe another creative 8, because if Sandro Tonali leaves, we have Joe Linton and Jacob Ramsey in reserve, which I just don't think is deep enough. Joe Willock, get him out the fucking football pitch, get him out of the club. And bring in a striker who matches your identity, because again, Asula's not a fucking striker. I do not care how much I'm being told he's a striker. Every best bit of play you see from Asula is on the right hand side, and he cuts in, and that's where his best moments are. So why is he being played as a fucking focal point striker? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Anyways, I need to see... These are the people that I need leaving this football club. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. I need them leaving this football club this window, or my head will already be gone before the season started. Joe Willock needs to leave the club. Harvey Barnes needs to leave the club. Sandro Tonali can go if he wants to. And Livramento needs to go. Jacob Murphy, it should be the first one out that door. I'm sick of seeing that guy somehow start games for Newcastle United. It is unbelievable. But yeah, that's who I need to leave for me to have any faith that he's changing things up. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Well, we'll see. And I think Jacob Murphy will start the first game of the season. So
yeah, it's probable.
But that puts you in 13th. You've leapfrogged Palace and Leeds. So
safe from relegation.
Safe, mathematically safe from relegation. Still below Sunderland. You need a miracle really to get Europe, because let's say Villa win the Europa League, then that will be one more European place. So the top 8 will get Europe. You're still 5 points off Brighton, and that's saying you win all your games and Brighton lose all their games. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I don't think so, but it's one of those where that run after that Barcelona loss, I think it killed the season.
It
Absolutely
did,
killed
yeah.
the season. We'll see. We'll see what happens to Eddie Howe. Good win though.